It's a huge pleasure to be here. My name is Fotis Karonis. I'm the CTIO, Chief Technology and Information Officer at BT Enterprise, and also 5G Executive Advisor at BT.
My name's Mark Needham. I work in worldwide sales and strategy for Cisco, focused on WebEx and workplace transformation.
These are unprecedented times with COVID-19 for the whole country, but also for the world. We are fabric of communications for all our citizens today, all home working, corporates and public sector companies. We are supporting the NHS, of course, under these extraordinary times for our nation.
We have a really rich partnership with BT across all our architectures, and the work we're doing together based on the current crisis is really enabling critical businesses, key workers to deliver as they need to help look after the countries and drive the economies forward.
Mark, I mean, it would be very interesting to hear what are the major sort of impacts seen for Cisco as a result of COVID-19.
So WebEx is our collaboration platform with 200 million unique users a month. Now in March, there were 324 million unique users. So you can see that huge increase in the amount of use by people being at home and needing to still be productive and collaborate and meet with their teams and drive projects forwards.
We've seen growth of 230% in data, and our systems are really reacting very well. You know, we're putting extra capacity as these weeks go through. Voice calls have been increased by 73% across our estate, but also the duration of calls. So people tend to speak like an average 5 times more over our networks. The patterns are also flat out, I would say, from 7 in the morning until late in the evening for different reasons.
So for example, if you look at Netflix, they had to go from HD to SD to conserve bandwidth in Europe since the COVID crisis started. So what that means from a collaboration perspective is whatever platform you're using needs to be able to be resilient to that potential reduction in capacity and how it acts beyond that.
Is this crisis, Mark, into your opinion, heralding a completely new way in remote working? And what do we as businesses need to be best prepared to do?
When you look at remote working, just really embrace it. And it's not just about doing it now for the long term. You can attract better employees, you can positively impact retention, you can give them a much better work-life balance, and for the employer perspective, you'll actually see more productivity by allowing them that extra flex, not just for this short term while we get over COVID, but for the longer term within your organisation.
And Mark, tell me, in the last 2-3 weeks, I mean, you have conversations with customers, right? What is really sort of important for them? And what has changed, you think, in this process?
So when I think about the dialogues we were having with the customers 2-3 months ago, everything was around digitalisation, workplace transformation. But now there's only really 2 topics which they want to speak about. How do we rapidly enable remote working, but not at the cost of security? And because we are a very large security company, that's integral to our solution. We very much focus on 3 areas: privacy, security and transparency. And then the experience speaks for itself.
Security, we know how important it is. By working from home, we have to apply the same tough sort of procedures and processes that we have in a working environment. That's not very easy, of course, so it requires a discipline. How do you see that sort of grow in terms of importance in remote working? If you can just give me a small outline.
Be very mindful of how a vendor treats your personal data. So there are really 5 things you need to be confident in when it comes to personal data. That the vendor doesn't retain your data if they don't have to. If they are keeping your data, they need to do it for the shortest time possible. They need to be fully transparent about how that data is used. They need to give you the control to delete that data, and they need to empower you as the end user, because that data is your data, not their data. And the final sentiment is never ever cut corners for cost reasons when it comes to security. It's a false economy. For every $100 an organisation spends on security, an average organisation would get $270 of benefit.
Mark, could you tell us how Cisco reacted to to this big changes in demand, actually? I would be really interested to know.
So WebEx has its own global backbone, which is purpose-built for meetings. So what this means is that we are in much greater control of the performance and the experience than with some of the other platforms. So basically what we've been doing constantly for the last 6 weeks, 8 weeks, is just adding capacity. Because with the explosion we've seen in users, we've basically hugely increased the capacity to ensure that everyone can meet when they need to, so emergency services are not impacted and organisations can still be productive. And then as part of that, as more and more customers are looking to use the platform, we've looked at what we do from a commercial perspective to allow them easier access. So for small organisations that just want to get started really quickly, what we've done is that we've actually took off the guardrails on the free of charge offer that we had via WebEx Online. So you could go onto the online site, download WebEx there and then, and you could get started. But it's not just about helping new customers. Obviously, customers we already have are going to have additional capacity, where they may have had a department, a segment of their workforce using WebEx before. Now everybody has to. So what we've done from that perspective is that we've waived any of the overage charges that would normally happen when it comes to the overconsumption of the licenses. Then what we've also done for the large organisations is if they need to deploy WebEx with scale for their employees, if they need centralised management and the integrations which come with the full experience, we've increased the capacity for our partners, BT as an example, to be able to set up the enterprise trials.
It's a huge pleasure discussing with you.
Likewise, stay safe and enjoy where you can your time at home.